Hey everybody, this is Terry. Welcome back. For those of you that are new to the channel, I would love for you to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right down there. Then there's a little bell. Touch that bell. Make sure you have notifications. Leave a comment, thumbs up, down, whichever you want. We kind of prefer thumbs up. Today's a bit of a different video. I needed to update a lot of people. In some of my previous videos that I will link up here, I spoke about my son, our homeless son, Joshua, and his illnesses. He has bipolar autism and paranoid schizophrenia. He is living in downtown Portland in the streets. He is one of the homeless. And I haven't seen him for over a year. I've been getting a lot of comments, a lot of questions, and a lot of messages about Joshua. And I haven't had an update. I haven't really had anything that I could do to tell you guys. I've had a couple of friends that are working downtown in the shelters and helping with the homeless in the feeding and in the clothing and the different areas, different shelters. They haven't seen him. Yesterday, I got a phone call from the girl that does my nails. She's done them for over 20 years. And she said, Terry, you have to get down here. You have to get down here because Joshua's here. And I was like in a complete state of panic. You'll see in this picture here what I look like and what Joshua looked like when I first picked him up or when I first saw him. It was so emotional, and I have been hoping, I've been praying, I've been crying, I've been asking, I've been looking, and there's no way to find him. There's a lot of you know, if you work with the homeless downtown, they have sort of a hierarchy system, and they will hide each other. Joshua, unfortunately, I think I said he's also using meth, which makes him a little delusional, well, a lot delusional, and it just sort of exacerbates everything. Well, when my friend called and said, he's here, I dropped everything I was doing. I got in my car and I went to where she told me he was. And I didn't see him. I was in the parking lot and I didn't see him, but I saw 3 workers there that were working on a department store. And I stopped and, I was crying and I asked him, I said, have you guys seen a homeless man here? And they looked at me like, this woman is whack. And I said, no, you don't understand. It's my son. He will be 27 years old next month in June. And he's been homeless for 8 years. I just got a tip that he's in this area and they hadn't seen him. So I called my nail girl back and I asked her where exactly she thought he might be. And she said, go around the corner. It's a weird parking lot. She told me where to go. I went around the corner and as I turned around the department store, I saw him. I saw his back. At that point, he wasn't walking and he had a lot of clothes on, so I really couldn't tell it was him. If any of you know people that have autism, they have a very distinctive walk. And Joshua has a very, very distinctive walk, a very distinctive voice, a very distinctive look. But the person I saw had so much hair and this huge beard and so many clothes on, I didn't notice him. But as soon as I saw him, I didn't want to get too close in case, it can be a little sketchy, especially if it's someone that I didn't know. So as soon as I saw him, I stopped my car, I put my window down, and I screamed out, Joshua. When I did, he immediately turned around. I don't know how really to explain to you what I felt at that moment or what Joshua felt. He was looking at me. I stopped my car. I just had on a t-shirt, a pair of shorts, no makeup. My hair looked like crap. I got out of the car and I started crying. And I said, son, it's your mom. And he looked at me like he really didn't know who I was. And I didn't know if he did or not, because the last time I saw him in the hospital, which is this video right here, I don't think Joshua knew who I was. Maybe it's not a video, maybe it's a picture. I don't know. We'll see. Sorry. And then we have this supposed a virus going around. So I wasn't sure how close I could get to him, how close I should get to him. I didn't have a mask. I didn't have anything. I didn't even have my shoes on at that point, but I had them thrown in the car. I got up to him and I said, do you know who I am? You know, and he kind of looked and he started talking about an earthquake and tsunamis, tidal waves. It was supposedly a 9-point earthquake in Portland, but we didn't feel it because we were in the epicenter. And if you guys know anything about the Portland area, he generally is in downtown Portland, and I live very well east of Portland. It takes me about 20 or 30 minutes to get to Portland downtown in my car. Joshua was walking. I started to try and talk to him a little bit, and I asked him how he got there, and he couldn't tell me. He had no idea how he got to Clackamas. He had no idea. So I didn't know what to do. I have kept some of his songs on my phone in case I saw him. I could play some of the songs for him and maybe it would strike a chord. So what I did, I went to that link and I played it for him, and he listened and he got real still and he looked and he said, that guy can really sing and he really does play the guitar great. I said, Joshua, that's you. That's your song. You wrote that song. You wrote that music and you were playing the guitar. And he looked at me like, you're kidding me. It's like, son, no, that's you. I listened to that album you put out in 2018, and I'll put a link to it under this. I wouldn't, if I were you, buy a copy of it because I don't know where that money's going to, but I do know it's not going to Joshua. I did buy it so I could keep it on my phone as a link. It started to get to him. It looked like he started to remember. And I asked him if he was hungry. And he said, yes, of course. So I took him across the street. We got him food and something to drink. We got him food to put in his pockets. And I was trying to get him to agree to go to the emergency department because he really did need a psych eval. We talked about, he started coming around and becoming a little more coherent the more I spoke. And I've been trying to get him on SSI or SSDI for the last 8 years. And he has not cooperated because getting a psych eval for him, if you have paranoid schizophrenia, if you know someone that has paranoid schizophrenia, you know how scary that can be. They don't trust you anyway. They don't know who you are. They don't trust what you're doing or what you're asking of them. But he said something about SSI, and I said, okay, so to get that, we have to take you to the hospital. And to look at him broke my heart because he had infected sores on his face. His hands were so dirty. His shoes didn't match. I couldn't get him into a store to get shoes for him. And had I got him in to get new shoes for him or new clothes for him, he would have been attacked downtown. because people would be trying to take what I had just bought for him. So I didn't want to put him in that danger, but I did get him food to last for a little bit. Gosh, there's so much to say, but I don't really know how to say it. He agreed to go to the hospital. We got to the hospital and he started to freak out. At that point, and I'm not sure, I'm sorry if I said this before or not, but at that point, I knew he was dangerous. I know my son. And so going to the hospital at that point was not an option. So I called his caseworker and I left her a voicemail and let her know I was going to take Joshua and put him on the MAX train, which is public transportation here, that would take him straight down by her office. And I'm talking to Joshua and he wanted to go on the MAX. He knew he couldn't come home because of the danger, and that was hard. When I pulled, and this is kind of embarrassing, when I pulled into the parking garage, the parking structure that's there for the MAX, I didn't even know how to buy a pass for him. And here I am looking so different from him, and I am just crying. And I could see that there were people behind him thinking that he was harassing me because he was homeless. So obviously he was, in their minds, a huge danger. In reality, he could have been a danger, but I know what to watch for in his eyes and in his body movements. And I knew he wasn't a danger to me at that point. And before I got him the pass, I know I'm jumping around because it's still so unbelievable to me that I found him. Before I bought him that pass, I thought I would go through some pictures. Joshua has helped several people get off the street, which I think is amazing. It's also, to me, very confusing because he can help these other people with their lives and getting off the street and making a new life for themselves. But he doesn't have the ability to do that for himself. And so I showed him one man's picture and he said, I know him. I said, Joshua, he has kids now. And his eyes got big and he said, really? I said, yeah, and he's got a job and he's got a home and he's doing really well. And that was because of you. You encouraged him. And then I flipped through my phone to another kid. And I said, this kid right here, do you remember him? Yeah. I said, well, he has his own business now because of you. You helped him get off the street. The look in his eye of absolute disbelief, it broke my heart, but it was also encouraging because I was trying to get him to realize he had value and he had a place in this system. Then there were several girls that he has helped, and they were best friends in high school. One of them I took to a Boys to Men concert a couple of years back. I showed him her picture. He remembered her immediately. I showed another girl his picture. I showed him another girl's picture. He remembered her immediately. I told him about a girl that had protected him through school. Listen to me. I showed him the picture of another girl who had always been there to protect him during school, who's doing really well. She's married. She has 2 kids of her own now. And it was really hard for Joshua to comprehend that a couple of these people hadn't been homeless, but they had been there for him and they were doing really, really well. And the ones that had been homeless that he was able to get off the street, that was really hard for him to comprehend. And I tried to get it to soak into him, and it looked like it did. And then I have my German Shepherd. Here she is right here. Her name is Karma. Well, what's really interesting with Karma, Joshua loves Karma. And when the woman that I got Karma from is a friend of mine on Facebook. And when she saw his picture, she got in touch with me again. And she said, I know your son. She used to work at the detention center downtown, and she knew Joshua, and she would run into him on the streets. And one thing I noticed, Joshua was always one of our most polite kids, with really, his manners were really good. It was always yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, thank you, please, excuse me. And he said that to me, and I told him, I showed him the woman's picture, and he said, I know her. I said, I know you do. That's who I got Karma from. And he looked at me, and those big brown eyes of his, he just started to cry. He said, I know her, Mom. And I told him what she had told me about Joshua, where a lot of people see a homeless, dirty, meth addicted, mentally ill man. She told me some things that she never saw that. She saw how polite he was. And I told him that she said that he had a light in his smile that could brighten an angel's heart. And he just looked at me with disbelief because he's been treated so poorly over the last 8 years of being on the streets. You know, we have a court order that was not our doing, because Joshua can be very dangerous. But in that exchange in the car, what I saw was my son. And I showed him pictures that I'll put up here of him when he was doing really well and he was staying here with me. He looks good. He has weight on him. You could tell he's been eating. He's shaven. He has a haircut. He's got on clean clothes. And he looked at that, and I said, Joshua, that was you. And that can be you again. You can do this again. And he looked at me with the look I really can't describe. It was very haunting. It was very disbelieving. And it broke my heart. And I'm really not sure how it affected Joshua. But I know when I showed him the pictures of the people's lives that he had touched, the people that he had helped, and what the woman that I bought my dog from, that he loves Karma. How can you not love a beautiful German Shepherd? When I told him what she had said about him, he started to cry. It touched his heart. And you know, I'm like a lot of you guys. I will not give the homeless money. If they want food, I'll give them food. I have learned through the years I don't buy him new things, because when I do, he's attacked. And I could tell that his nose had been broken again. It was very out of place. It's very crooked and off center. And so I didn't want to put him in more danger, but the mom in me wanted to wrap him up and grab him and hold him, but I knew I couldn't at this point in time. And, you know, it was devastating. It was devastating. But it was also very helpful to me, because I just finished, and I highly recommend this book if you guys are struggling or are having any doubts of why you're here. Let me open it up here. This was recommended to me by my psychiatrist and my therapist and a friend of mine in Canada, and it's called Man's Search for Meaning, and it's by Victor, which is Viktor, middle initial E, Last name is Frankel, Frankl. And he was a survivor of the Holocaust in the concentration camps. And I'll be very truthful with you. Over the last month, I've been having huge struggles with my life, wanting to end it, not really seeing the value in my life because I was in a very bad place, in a situation I should not have been in. And I had no hope. I had absolutely no hope. I listened to this book, and I will put the link in the description bar. I don't get any profit from it. I just hope that if it helps one of you, that you'll listen to it. Because I just finished listening to the book when I got the phone call from my manicurist that she saw Joshua. And I had to stop and wonder, what is my meaning in life? Who would have been there had I taken my life? Who would have been there when my friend called me and said she saw Joshua? No one. He would still be wandering around the streets. And I know some of you are thinking, oh yeah, that's crap or whatever. And that's okay, because we're each entitled to our own opinions. But it really hit home with me on several different levels. And what was really weird was I had a virtual meeting with my psychiatrist yesterday morning. Right after my phone call with him and talking to him about this book and things that had happened over the weekend, I got the phone call about Joshua. I ran out to get Joshua. And then I got a phone call about 11 o'clock from my therapist, who said that we had 11 o'clock meeting, and I had it scheduled at 2. So I told him what was going on. We rescheduled. I was able to get Joshua onto the transit, get home, shower, and get ready for my meeting with him and tell him what had happened with finding my son, being able to see him, being able to reach out to him. And if I'm rambling, I'm sorry. If I've lost you, I'm sorry. I'm just so thankful I saw Joshua. It broke my heart to see him in the condition that he was in. But I was so thankful that he was alive. And I was so thankful that I was alive to be able to see my son and let him know his worth in this world and how much I love him, to let him know the people's lives that he touched. And one thing was very, very sad, and I'll show you this. I hope it shows up on video. I asked him who this person was. This was sent to me about 6 or 8 months ago by a police officer. That's my son. He looked at the picture, Joshua looked at the picture, and he said, well, he looks familiar, but I'm not really sure who he is. Talk about ripping a mom's heart out. And there are people out there, I will get hate mail. I do every time I post something about Joshua. For one, we adopted him at birth, and I get mail telling me to forget about him. He's garbage, that he's not my son anyway. Yes, he is my son. My husband and I were there when he was born. My husband cut his cord. We raised him. We took care of him. We took him to the doctor. We got him braces. We did everything he needed. We thought at that point he just had autism. And like in some of the other videos, if you've seen those, you'll see that the bipolar and the paranoid schizophrenia didn't manifest until his early 20s. So we really didn't know everything we were dealing with. But I wanted to post this because everyone, I get messages, I'm not kidding you, on a daily basis from people that say, thank you for letting me know, or I'm fighting the same battle with my son. It's a hard battle. I don't know what advice I can give you. I have to do what I think is right for me and what's right for my son, and that's to continue to try to get him a thorough psych evaluation. In Portland, it's very hard. They look at me and they say, we don't want to take his rights away. And my answer to that, if you've seen any of the previous videos, has been, then if he hurts someone else, are you going to call their parents and tell them that because you didn't want to give my son a psych eval, he hurt, or worse, their child? And they walk off because they have no answer for me. And I guess I'll get back to something I was saying earlier in that I'm guilty of this too with the homeless. I don't like this situation. I see Portland pushing everyone away. There's no place for these kids to go. A lot of these people are very mentally ill. There have been a lot of time, every time I'm downtown, I look for him. There have been some times I've been downtown and I've been able to speak to people. And when they realize that I'm his mom and I have his pictures and his music on my phone, they don't let me see him, but they say, I'll get the message to him. I don't know if he's gotten those messages. He was in and out of it yesterday. I had asked him when he had last used, and he said today, which would have been yesterday, and I don't know if he had his days mixed up or not. But there's always hope. As long as my son is alive, there's hope. As long as I'm alive, there's hope. And you people that have helped me search for my son, I thank you. You know who you are. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Those of you that have encouraged me by telling me how Joshua helped you, thank you. I cannot thank you enough. Those of you that message me to ask if I've seen him and how he is, thank you. That means a lot to me, because that means to me someone else sees the value in my son. And I wish I could put his song up, but the person that recorded my son, even though it says it has his name as the copyright owner, I'll put the link below, but someone else produced it and the money is going to them, and I don't want that to happen because they're making money off of my son, and I don't think that that's fair. That money should go to help my son. So I'm not really sure where I'm going to be sprinkling pictures in, but I'm going to put in links to other videos about him. And I really want to thank you for listening to me kind of ramble. What you're seeing is a raw heart of a mom. And I couldn't do this video yesterday without completely breaking down. It took me 24 hours or more to be able to get in front of a camera to let you know I found my son. I saw him. He's alive. And also to let you know about this book, Man's Search for Meaning. I highly suggest that you download it. Like, I don't get anything from it, but if it benefits you, it's worth it. It is basically about how to find the meaning of your life during suffering and during the hard times. So please download it. Thank you for taking the time to listen. And to all of you out there who have helped me look for Joshua and have encouraged me, thank you. Once again, I ask you to please subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. please hit the like and leave me a comment. Let me know if you've experienced this. And for all of you people out there that have hung in through this, I'm telling you, I've got 2 reviews coming up on 2 motorcycle products. One, I bought a new helmet. I cannot wait to try it out and show it to you. I can't ride right now. I had a woman hit my car. I've had pretty severe neck and back injuries, so I can't ride at the moment. And also a detailing product for my car that is the most amazing product I have ever used on my car. I'm going to try my best in these next couple of days to get those put together and get them up for you. Thanks for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for being there for a mom and a son that really need your support. Peace out, guys, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon.